attention. I was goofing on my phone, and then I discovered that it was 7:30. What is going on, guys? I am tinkering on the shatter tonight. Uh, so, just give you guys a little. I was just upgrading a little bit because 5.3 titanium, you know. Oh yeah, 5.3 titanium. Yep. Over here as well. Gas tank is loosely put in there, just a fitment, whatever. Get 5.3 titanium. Thought I'd just show you guys real quick. These are Mac Kaler custom carts, gas and brake pedals, and also Mac got me a new steering wheel. I am gonna do a whole video eventually here on the shatter chassis, and kind of go over everything and pricing and this and that. But Mac is the guy who builds the chassis. Is not the owner. Hello. Not the owner of Shatter Chassis. That is a gentleman named Mike. He runs Ashway Speedway in Tennessee. But Mac builds this stuff, so Mac included when I picked up the chassis in Kentucky this past weekend. He included some stuff, and I've been busy installing that, trying to get ready for next week. What's going on? Glad you guys are here. Welcome. Oh, it's been a busy couple weeks, man. I traveled, what I figure, 52 hours, and was it just shy of 3,000 miles? Something like that. It's been I've had enough of driving, I can tell you that. Well, hello. I was just showing off the shatter a little bit right there at the beginning. Got a bunch of work to do next Saturday, so today's Thursday. I got a little over a week to get this thing. Yeah, does it? There was an incident, though. Do you remember the ratchet straps, Alan? Well, somewhere in Cincinnati. Cincinnati. That had come, I had a tail going. It's just flapping in the breeze. Didn't think anything of it. So we're in Cincinnati. We're in pretty bad traffic. And I'm like, all right, it is what it is. We're backed up. And all of a sudden, we're just cruising, I don't know, 15 mile an hour. Bang! I'm like, whoa! It's like, my daughter and my wife were like, what the heck was that? I'm like, I have no idea. I'm like, man, I must have hit something on the side of the road. That was crazy. I'm like, I'm looking around, I'm feeling the wheels. I'm like, man, nothing seems broken. I didn't blow a tire. I'm like, boy, something happened. I'm like, I must have hit something. Maybe there's a piece of plastic or something. I work in a car, so I figured, hey, that was a crunchy noise or something. It shook the whole car. I'm like, wow. We get going a little bit and get it not up to speed, but we're still in traffic. But we get going a little bit, and it start to slow down. And all of a sudden, bang! It was a bang! And did it twice. And I'm like, all right. And I pull over the side of the road, and the leftover strap had fallen down to the tire, and the tire was running over the strap and then compressing between the cart and the ground, the whole suspension. And then once it went around, it popped free. Woo! So I got I always carry a Leatherman. I have a Skeletool that is always on me unless I can't carry it somewhere. But it's at work, anywhere I have a Skeletool. So pocket knife came out and couldn't cut that off, and that was the end of that. Holy smokes! Scared the crap out of everybody in the car, including the dog. That was madness. I got to turn my brightness up. I can't see you guys or what you're saying. Nice. What's going on? Yeah, I know. It was high enough. It must have, because of those, where the cart was sat on the roof rack, there was enough spring there that it didn't do anything to that. Although I will say that when we got back, we just pretty much cruised through and we're in the cab of the car and stuff. And when we were dropping off my daughter, my exhaust is making a little bit of noise. It's a little throaty. So I crawled under there. I don't see anything, but then again, it's a 2019. I'm in New York, so it's possible that something was a little rusted. That whole thing could have knocked something loose and created a hole, or it's maybe it's the flex pipe up near the engine. But it sounds like it's back further. I looked under there. I mean, the exhaust looks fine. Like I figured maybe I broke a hole in the. I might have just broke a weld. That's very possible. That hole, it might have compressed the suspension and hit the exhaust pipe and broke the weld that I can't. I'm maybe on the back side where I can't see it. I got to get it up in the air. So that's so much stuff to do. I got this cart. I got to tonight after I get off the live stream. I got to go. I got to go change my daughter's oil in her car. And then we got grocery shopping. Then we're going to a music bar on Saturday. And then I got to close down the pool on Sunday. It's just somewhere in there, I got to find time to finish putting this together. Oh goodness, yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm super happy to be riding the shatter, and we're gonna see. I mean, it's gonna be tough. I don't want to. I know that my support says go out and win the 2000 win, and I would love to. I'm gonna try. I'll try my darndest. That it is a track I've never been to, on a cart I've never been on, and on a tire I don't run that often. So well, we're gonna see. I'm gonna go and try. That's the one thing. The guys at work, they're just like, oh, you got a brand new cart, you're gonna mess it up. Racing it on a little boring, because it's like the gearing. I asked about gearing, and something like 1165, which is pretty tall. I don't have mini gear still. And I don't have a 10 driver. I actually would run a 10 if I could. I just don't have one. I think you have to mod the basket or something to get the 10 to work. Something along those lines. I haven't looked into it, because the 11 pretty much works everywhere. You just have to run a bigger rear gear. But yeah. What I was going to say is, everybody's worried you're going to mess up the chassis. It's just like, as long as I don't hit anything, I think spindles, all that stuff will be fine. But the body I've been running all season long, that's going on it. I'm not putting brand new body on it. I got a brand new chassis. I got brand new everything, used gas tank, brand new seat. I'm going to do a video on that. I'll give a little behind the scenes. I'm not super good at mounting seats. Never have been. I know there, certain manufacturers, this distance to here, that distance to there. I always usually set them where it's most comfortable. I did get seat savers though this time, because all my old seats are wallered out pretty bad. Then again, I've had them for eons. I mean, I think we bought the Recons in 2017. It's 2025, so that's 8 years I've been running those seats. And yeah. Oh, it's good. Here, now that there's a few more of you guys in here, I kind of jumped the gun. Maybe I was excited to show off, but this is what I got going on so far. I just got done. Nothing against Shatter Racing Chassis, but I'm sponsored by 5.3 Titanium. So obviously the hubs went on. I had to put I put the brake on over here. This hub, Matt Kaler Custom Karts makes these steering wheels. A different version of the Eliminator steering wheel, which I'm real comfortable with running, so that's going to be super cool. That's just loosely in there. But you got some Shatter karts. I went and I put the 5.3 Titanium. Also, these Matt Kaler makes these. I got a box along with the cart, and these are Kaler custom karts. I got to do the brakes yet, but these things, I have a video. One thing I wanted to show you guys, if you're curious about it, Mac makes these. You know how Nerf bars sometimes can be a pain to fit and all that stuff. So you have a standard 90-degree bend. Love this. You know, it's got the holes for adjustment for width of body. But when you come back here, sometimes you have to bend your Nerf bar to fit here. Well, this this tube is just inside here. So this spud, we'll call it a spud, goes in here, and then this floats. So you don't have to worry about binding or anything like that. That is super cool. Very well thought out. I love the aspect of engineering. It's really I think everything's well thought out. Especially, you know, Mac does real cool stuff. What do we got? Greta's coming. Oh, great! Thanks for the thanks for the heads up. Yeah, I have seen them. I've seen racing there, and it's a little tighter than I thought it was going to be, but that's fine. Don't get me wrong. I like big fast tracks, more so on my open. I'll say that. After running big fast track on Selins Grove on a clone, it's not as fun as when you have to lift. I think much like NASCAR, off throttle time makes for better racing. When you have to lift, when you have to, you know, let the kart do the work. I mean, the kart's working the entire time, but you know what I mean. When it not so much the kart. I will take that back. I will say when the driver makes a difference, when line choice, you know, entry, stuff like that, when you have to lift to make a corner, I think it makes for better racing. And I got a sneaking suspicion you can't wide open Dreamfield. I think you got to lift. I think you got to slide it, maybe pitch it a little, get the kart into a yaw to be competitive. At least that's from what I see. You know, obviously I'm going to find out in a little over a week here. But yeah, I saw the guardrails, and that there too. I mean, you're not going to be able to stand on it the entire time, even with a clone. I think that's fantastic. It seems to be that it'll be interesting with the Reaper on, you know, Northern Dirt again, because I've run it a couple times on slippery stuff. It's an equalizer, you know, who can get the tires right, and from everybody's experience, mine included, you know, you can. You don't get a lot of benefit out of doing a lot of work at home with a Reaper. It's what you can do at track. I mean, you can thin up the tread. You can how you sand them, but then sanding them at track and what you're treating them with is, and air pressures are going to be. That's going to be, you know, your speed. Also, you know, chassis setup. So I got some decisions to make. What kind of setup? I reached out to Mac, Mac's the guy who actually built the chassis, and actually what he told me for his open is real close to what I was thinking about putting in it for a clone for Northern racing. It sounds, you know, close to what I run on like the Recon and the Scythe. So it's going to be, what body are you going to be? I'm running, matter of fact, now that I have a Evolution seat, there was that question that I had posed on Facebook. That's a John's Kart body. I'm pretty sure it makes those. I have a John's Kart body. So yeah, it's right over here. Here, I can show you. It's just, I got it set there. All still together. Just peeled it off of the Scythe. And then I'll slide it right on this thing. So I don't mind if the body, you know, the body's in real good condition. It's taking a whooping. I've been in some incidences or clone racing this year, so it's taken a whooping so far and done good. And I think it's cool. Yeah. Gotta. Yep. There's a we'll call it a partnership if you want. I'm still gonna race the Phantoms in the open. I don't have the means in order to get another shatter to run the open on it. But I'm not gonna be running open till next year sometime. I still went to nationals, and part of the reason I failed to transfer from the C to the B main was the carburetors. Kart was decent, not great, but decent. The, the tires were, they made such a difference. I was running Vegas all day long, and then I was just like, you know what, they're not as fast as I need them to do, and I put some Maxxis pinks and blues on that I'd been working, and it dropped like 3 or 4 tenths, just like that. Just they're real good, and there was a mixed bag of what everybody's running. Anyway, the carburetors. One of the reasons I sent them in to be rebuilt was that they're hanging up, and with the two-stroke, it's hard to drive like that. So if the carburetors, if the spring, if the throttle cable, anything hangs up, it's a hard pedal and then it goes wide open, the engine's darn near hard, impossible to drive. It goes from no power to all power at once, and it was exceptionally hard to drive. I got to go through the footage yet. I glanced at some of the C main where I was getting pummeled in the corner. I wasn't super pumped on that, but is what it is. But then where I was going with that was I haven't cleaned anything up. I haven't had time. It's not for lack of desire to. I just haven't had time. I still got to go everything, but I just happened in here. I walked out and I was getting ready. I was going to tinker on this a little bit, and I just hit my throttle a little bit, smooth as a bell. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know. Something's hanging up. Something. They can't be rusty or anything. I was spraying them all day long, trying to keep them lubricated. I don't know if maybe my throttle cable's bunged up and it just happened to free up. I don't know. It's it's a bummer. That's racing. It's, I really wish it hadn't happened, but like my wife and I were talking, she's just like, it might have been for the best. I watched the feature, and there was some iffy driving, going on. I have purposely not engaged in any of the negativity that went on in the Grand Nationals. I don't find it to be helpful, especially after the fact. People know how they were driving. People in charge know what to address next time, and it will get handled. I don't think adding my 2 cents to the dog and pony show or the peanut gallery was going to help any. So I purposely didn't say anything, and I'm not upset. Was it the 24? I really didn't like being run into. I tried to let him go by, and I got hit even harder before he went by. I was pretty mad at the time, but I'm one of those people like I'm not a hothead, but I'll pop a topper real quick, and then I calm down fairly quick. I don't rant and rave and carry on and carry that stuff with me. I don't find that anger suits me well. You got to let me blow off some steam, and then once I chill out, I start to analyze, okay, he was doing everything he could. He wasn't purposely running into me. I was having a problem. He didn't know that. Maybe he didn't see my hand when I pointed to the bottom. I specifically came out of the corner. I'm like, hey, take it. And then boom. It is what it is. It's racing. I've unfortunately been into enough people that it would be very hypocritical of me to call people out for making mistakes I've made. I don't like to do it. Do I wish it didn't happen? Of course. I wish that I wish he had passed me, and then I could have transferred from the C to the B. Not that I don't know that I could have figured out what the problem was besides cracking my throttle butterflies open maybe a hair more, which would have made it idle a little higher. Which it'll bring my temps up. Bringing more fuel and air mixture into it. I probably could have gotten away with it if I'd done that. If I put a little tension on them and opened them up and got it past that part where it was stuck. But I finished 10 transferred. I finished 11th, and at that moment when I was blowing my top, I was perfectly okay with watching the A main. It meant that we could pack up and watch the race and enjoy it. And I tried to get more footage, from the stands and all that stuff, but my battery was whooped. Sometimes racing goes bad, and I can't be upset at it. I can be upset at it, but I choose not to be upset at it because racing is racing. Sometimes a 25-cent clip will take you out of a race. Sometimes a driver will take you out of a race. Sometimes track conditions will take you out of a race. It's racing. You pay your money, you take your chances, go out and race. I brought it up in the last video. I wanted to address it here too. I didn't see a whole bunch of crap being floated around, but like Chris C, did a thing, a Renee Angel setup, and I love, I'm glad Renee comes to the races and everything, and I don't care how you get there. I may have said this before. I know I said it in the video. I don't care how you get there. I don't care if you got a toter home. I don't care if you have this. I don't care if you have a 24-foot trailer full of tires. Come to race. Show up in the back of your caravan. I did that for years. I also beat people out of the back of a caravan. Come to the race. Come to the races. Race carts. We're there for the race. I don't, I think it's wonderful. If you have a lot, that's wonderful. Good for you. Sometimes I don't like that, just like, oh, they got all this. Just race. I know, maybe someday you'll have that stuff. I don't like that envious type of thing. It'd be nice. I'd love to have, brand new stuff and a ton of tires. Cool. But I will go out there and race regardless. I will go with what I have and compete what I have. And it's almost, I have been on the other side. I had a wall at one point in time and everything I could have desired. And my performance went up, that's for definite. But run what you got, man. But yeah, getting blasted sucks. I couldn't do anything about it. I tried to pick up the throttle even sooner. I tried to just hammer through it, but boy, it made me loose. It was a handful. So I went from a power valve Bama. So the power valve is digitally controlled. It gives you more bottom end, but it's controllable bottom end. So a two-stroke, if you put it on a dyno, goes like this, and then it hits its peak horsepower. Well, the power valve would, depending on what programming you put in it, arcs that curve. So it makes it a smoother draw, we'll say, to throttle. When you go back to the base package, which is what I have now, I have a base 250, the way the Bama originally came, you have what's called a sedan lag, or what I refer to as a sedan lag. So you're wide open, you go in the corner, you have to lift toward the corner, you jump out of the gas, those butterflies slam shut, and the engine takes it takes this huge gulp of fuel when those butterflies slam shut. When you get back to throttle, all that fuel has to process through the engine, so you get this big plume of smoke coming out of the tailpipe, and there's a lag there for throttle. So and then once it gets past it, you like my sound effects, it's power, and it, depending on where you set your flex, how violent that power is. I have a longer flex on, so it wouldn't be as egregious. It gives you a lot more bottom end, but it isn't so snappy. The shorter flex you go on a two-stroke, the higher it raises the RPM band, and the like light switchy it is. But timing that lag, it kind of came back to me. Like it was just everything that I was dealing with the clutch that kind of set me back. I was unable to make chassis adjustments or really work tires all day long. I was doing all I can. My buddy Doug and Jamie came with me, and they were helping me wash tires and do this and that, doing stuff that allowed me to concentrate on getting the clutch issues handled. But it put me way behind on adjustments. You need to look at the track. You need to consider, what you just did. And it was just like, I was doing that stuff, but I could only put this much effort into it because I was so concerned with the direct drive of the clutch. The clutch was just, it was smashing together, and then I was direct driving the cart, which it's drivable, but the problem is when you go to lift and when your axle's connected to your engine, without any slip or anything like that, the friction discs and the pressure plates never come apart far enough to disengage the cart. I'm not used to it, and basically it locks the rear axle. I spun out more times than I have in years. It's an odd feeling for me. I just don't loop it. Like I do, occasionally I'll loop it, on my own, but I'm fairly metered in the corner that I can feel the slip of the tires and know when it's gonna start to go. And there was none of that, man. I lifted and it just, oh no! Yep. Yeah, Skeeter lag. Yeah, that's about it too. And somebody, I did that post of like the green flags. I think I called it green, green, green. It was short, and they're like, "Is that dust or two-stroke smoke?" And it's like, it's a bit of both. There was two strokes out there, which I love. The haze that you get during a race sometimes a race sometimes is a bit much, but it was both. Just a tricky track. I as much as people were complaining about the dust and everything, I appreciate Delaware for Speedway in Iowa for it made you drive. You couldn't just wide open the thing, and it made you think about line choice. Now, I think I mentioned it last week or something. I like the yaw, or what I call yaw. So I drive in and I drive in high, and I let the cart take its set. It yaws on you, and you're looking at the corner different. So when you pick up the throttle, you get more of a shot there. And man, if you touch that dust, nope. Southern Ohio, I'd love to go everywhere. Have I been to Southern Ohio? I don't think I've been to Southern Ohio. Oh wait, where's? Oh shoot, where was the 2020 Nationals? Is that Southern Ohio? I think that was Southern Ohio. Oh shoot, what's that track called? Wheelersburg? I think that's Southern. Yeah, Wheelersburg. I was there in 2020. That was 5 years ago, but yeah, yeah. I really enjoyed that track. Again, that was, oh boy, that was a bugger too. I know practice is practice, and in both times a couple practice is practice. Friday night practice does not equal speed on Saturday. I totally get it, and I know that all too well because I think it's Jim Bob Clabber was watching my lap times on Saturday night at Wheelersburg when we're practicing and everything, and he's like, "Dude, you're top 10 speed." I'm like, "Sweet, yeah, I can deal with that." And then the track changed on Saturday. They stopped watering it. They just did. I didn't keep up with the track. My bad. I also broke a jack shaft. So again, it's like, man, I've been to a lot of Grand Nationals where I think I have my ducks in a row, just for something random to happen. The clutch problem this year, I threw like 3 chains, which I rarely ever do on the open. And again, I changed nothing. I checked the alignment. I don't understand. I must have been hitting something at Hunterstown in 2023. It's best I can figure. Yeah, the clutch thing, that, and then I broke a jack shaft at Wheelersburg. And I had to change. I had 2 carts there, luckily enough. Walt was still on board, and I changed the whole jack shaft. It was, yeah, crazy. This is what I call my local track. It's still in heart. Oh yeah, yeah. Jim Bob's good. He's an interesting folk. I met him first time I met him was in Missouri at Lazowski. Yep, he's interesting folk. He's a good dude. Passionate about whatever he's into. I will give him that. He's definitely, yeah, definitely a cool dude. But yeah, I've had stuff bite me, and then I qualified in Dumpling Valley on a sedan, little 125 sedan. I made the main. I think I ended up 7th overall. I mean, that's a lot of attrition, but everybody had big Jawas and this and that, and I had a little sedan back then, and I finished 7th in the Grand National. So, no, I was just talking with Alan about that when I picked up the chassis. So how this worked out was we'd been talking about this thing for happening for months, and it finally worked out, and we're trying to figure out how to get me the cart, and instead of shipping it because it's expensive and this and that, and I just happened to be going down to Kentucky to Louisville or Louisville, Louisville. Louisville. At least I don't say Louisville. Louisville. I was coming down there for the Louder Life Festival. My daughter wanted to go, and I'm like, sure, I'll drive. I mean, it's on the back of me driving out to Iowa and back, but it's okay. 9 hours down there to Louisville from here. And Alan and I were talking, and it's probably, if I want to come down there, it's a 12-hour pull-ish. maybe 13-ish to get the Ashway. Um, but then you add in towing, traffic, it's looking, that's got to be probably a 16-hour tour. Um, yeah, it's tough to do. It's I won't say time wise because I can always make a hey, I'm going racing this weekend and then take a couple vacation days, leave on a Thursday or something like that. I could make the time happen. It's the cost and more so fuel. Not yeah, that's the racing's expensive, tires, whatever. Okay, it's all part of it, no matter where you are in the part of the country. But when you start to travel, is where it becomes an issue. I think I spent $450 ish on fuel going out to Iowa, to and fro, which is I got like 14 miles a gallon pulling my little trailer. It was not too shabby. Maybe 13 on the way back because it's all uphill. But fuel, you gotta figure, okay, and then hotel room or food and this and it's just you end up, for me to go down and visit there, it's not that I don't want to, it's that it'll turn into a 16-hour pull. It will turn into, $500 fuel bill. It will turn into hotel rooms and this and that. It's just, it's tough. I would love to. It's just tough. Are you going to use the new shatter clone or open? I am intending initially on the clone. I'm going to get used to it. 2000 win Dreamfield coming up next week. It's going to be its first race. Hopefully, weather behaves and all that stuff. I hate to even mention that because I'm not much of a superstitious type of dude. So the 50s, the green, I don't partake in that stuff. But I do have a problem. I won't say the R word. It's just, it's so stupid. But hopefully the weather holds. It's going to be October, so you just never know here in New York. But then my intent next year, obviously, I'll be running a bit of AMS. That's the closest track to me. Get it tuned up. But the Northeast Dirt Kart Series. I would love to make a couple of those races if I don't know the schedule. Obviously, they don't have tracks yet. What we know about it is they want to have a series of races. Vegas are going to be the tire, not Burris. Going to be Vegas, so I'm going to have to freshen up some of my Vegas. But I'm from years of running Vegas on. I'm not tooting my own horn or anything, but I've won a lot of races on Vegas in the open, so I'm fairly good with Vegas. So I shouldn't be that far behind in the tire game. So I would say to I plan to run it. All in all, I plan to run it in clone, and then if everything goes swimmingly, with me finding a good balance, finding what it likes, then I'll start to consider putting the open on it, and maybe if for any other reason than to do it. The Grand Nationals are at they're in Tennessee next year. Morrisville, Morrison. That's it. Yeah, third time's charm. Morrison Speedway down in Tennessee. The intent is to go there, and I'll probably run the clone on it all next year until that point, and then why not? Because it's going to be a track I'm unfamiliar with. It's going to be on a surface I'm unfamiliar with, and I'll be able to run. Somebody said that their burst tires work really well there. That'll be cool because I'm familiar with burst. That should be fun. Nice. Godspeed. Very cool. Let us know how the window is for those. Yes, it definitely will. Yeah, that's it's no real secret. I tend to not run the amount of cross suggested by website. We'll take Phantom for instance. They have a hey, you run your cross 65 to 67 now up north. I don't think it's a big secret that us people up north have a tendency to run a lot lower cross. Now I have run higher cross on the scythe. It was okay, but I think that our tracks are just they're soft. They're have a roughness to them. The sometimes it's pilly. Sometimes it breaks up. It's just not the same type of scenario. And you would think, that hey, the chassis gurus know what they're doing. Yes, but I mean, with the exception of Slack, who builds a northern specific chassis? It's oh, can you make other chassis work? Absolutely. I guarantee you, I'll be able to make the shatter work up here. But they're all developed down south, so it's just not the same. So one of the things I run lower cross. We'll take my settings for years I ran on the recons for the open. I know it's an open, but it's a recon. Like 58 left, 63 cross, because it's an open, 45-5 nose. Yep. But the low cross is where anywhere from 60 to 63 usually is where I kind of meandered about. We'll say once you get into your higher bite stuff, you start to want to load that right front. You want to get the cross to it, and get off your right rear. That's where that makes more sense in my mind. Does it mean that you can't run low cross down south? Absolutely not. You absolutely can run low cross down south a whole bunch of times, but it's a lot of people get really hung up on cross, and I had this discussion. Chris C, messaged me, and it's driver dependent, it's track dependent, it's chassis dependent. Not the numbers are not exact the same forever you run. That is just not a thing. You can have two different drivers. You can have two different cross settings that they prefer. The way they drive it, the way they hit the corner, the way they hit the brakes, when they get back to the gas, it is all driver dependent and what they're on. So yeah. Nice. 100% of burst track. Well, that's being an open series, the UAS. You can run any tire you want. So that always comes into play. What is the fastest tire? Because we're a true, when I've griped about this, not griped, ranted. All right. About, when a lot of Southerners talk about, we want open tire. What you mean is you want Maxxis back. If a track went to Reaper, I get it. I get your plight. I understand, but where UAS is true open tire, bring what you got. When I went out there, I had 4 brands of tires. Four brands of tires with me, just in case. You never know how it went. I'm real comfortable on Vegas. I'm comfortable on Burris, but it didn't seem. I was talking with people. A couple people went out on Burris. They said, it's not really. They're not bad, but they just didn't hit right. And unfortunately, my Vegas were a bit older, so they weren't as fast as the new Vegas. A lot of people were on white Maxxis, and a lot of people were on brand new Vegas, white Maxxis, or pinks and blues. That's what I saw the most of. That just observation-wise. So much like Dumpling Valley, much like I've heard, is it Talladega? Favor a Burris tire, a Burris 33 specifically. Sweet, because I have some of those. I was showing everybody the brand new chassis. You want to look at it again? Okay, let's get it. We can look at it again. I'm super pumped about this. But here, if you saw the pictures, I've already done some upgrades. As I was saying, 5.3 titanium, 5.3 titanium, all 4 corners plus the brake rotor, 5.3 titanium, Mac Kaler, custom Karts. Made this version of, it's not an eliminator because it's Mac's design, but that style to where you can tilt and move and do all that stuff. Also, Mac Kaler makes these. Those are freaking sweet. I almost swore. I don't swear online, but yeah. Shatter Karts, brand new stuff, 5.3 titanium. Yeah, I got the. All right, we'll wander over here. Everybody is wondering. ON Evolution. I had asked for a Chavis. Did not have a large in stock. Oh, I don't think they had extra large in stock either. I was not particular. I just Chavis had mentioned, hey, you know, you got any questions? They reached out, or you know, they typed in my questionnaire there about what seat to go with, and I appreciate the company doing that. Just saying, hey, if you got any questions about it, oh man, you know, that just puts a good thing in my head. I'm like, yeah, I appreciate that they would comment on a post. So my intent was to get a Chavis. JC just happens to be out of stock. It's hard end of the year. It's not like they, beginning of the year where they just people buying brand new stuff. So they dwindled on their supply a little bit, and they didn't have those in stock. So I'm texting back and forth with Cliff, the owner, and I finally came to the conclusion that I have been running those next gen seats since 2017, and I guarantee you they are stretched because I've been in and out, in and out. Had them in opens, I've had them in the clones, and this and that. I said, I bet you, I'm 220 pounds, 5'9". I'm thick. Now I started racing in a medium in 2002. And I'm now in an XL. I sat in that XL, and it was just like perfect. I'm like, oh, jeez. So I got a Evolution, and so far, I mean, that what little bit I sat in it, I'm like, it was fantastic. I've only ran Burris and Vega. Not many people are on here run Maxis or Reapers. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's really what part of the country, what track you're at. The thing about it is I've said it. People gripe. I'm not picking on Burris. Obviously, I wouldn't do that. People gripe about the price of Burris. I get it. They're American made. They're you get into the years of things. They're very particular on particular tracks, but tracks like Dumpling Valley, tracks like like I said, Talladega, like what it sounds like possibly Morrison are going to be is the fastest tire to have. Very well may be a Burris, and I'm here for it. I love it. I love it when you have a true open tire series and one brand can shine light above the others a little bit. I do like that. You can still run whatever you want. You can, you may have people dropping the Duros on some Maxis. They may be running straight up Vega yellows. Cool. We ran them a ton. We had open tire at Paradise Speedway, that big track I used to run. And people used to ask me, hey, UAS race there, what tire you on? I said, Burst 33. Don't do anything to it, except for that track. And they're like, really? Not Vega yellows? I'm like, nope. Brand new Vega yellows. Nope. I mean, they'll work, they're round. But if you want to be fast, 33s. And they showed up with Vega yellows, and they were not lap traffic, but they were in trouble. And I was on, this is probably 2019, somewhere, probably 2019 when we still had, quite a few karts in the UAS up here. And I was on a set of 2016s. They just worked. Thick. I have not had the joy of needed. I got no beef with Maxis. And matter of fact, this past experience here, I definitely learned something about them. I'm intimidated. It's just, you hear about this, you got to have a 3-week tire and this and that, and that's the last time you internaled it. You have re-rolls, you have this and that. They like to be, sanded nice and smooth, and I get it. But once you have a process, which I didn't think the process was that hard to learn, I did everything that I had heard works for them, and arguably they worked. I mean, like I said, I dropped 4/10. Mind you, my Vega yellows are a little older. There's good meat there, though. Vegas don't typically fall off a ton, but as soon as I put the Maxis on, 4/10 just went, yeah, maybe it's 3 or 4/10, just instantly came off my laptop. I'm like, yo, these things work pretty freaking good, man. uh, have you put any thought into live waffles? Get sponsors run prep. I What I think about and what I'll actually do are two different things. I would love to find a way to. I don't ever want to feel like I'm taking advantage of anybody, or I know that's not taking advantage of people. I know it's just my mind frame. I don't like to ask for stuff. I don't like to bother people with stuff. If I can do for myself, no matter how far behind it puts me, I will do that first always. And there's like YouTube, for instance. I could do subscriptions. Hey man, be a subscriber to the channel, support the channel. I could do that. I just choose not to because I just feel bad. Like I can't explain it. I get, and I'm sure some people might do it. They might become, month-long members or blah blah blah. Or if I were to start a Patreon of some sort, or it's just I still treat this as passion, as fun, even though the channel's monetized. I get a little bit of money every month. It's not a big secret. I've said it before. It's not a ton of money, but it helps racing. And that's from ad revenue. So I don't feel so bad about getting paid from Google, for ads you were going to watch anyway. But asking people for money or trying to run waffles just, would blow my mind. When it all comes down to it, I'm either A, being lazy, which is, you could argue, maybe I'm not putting 100% in, but I think I'd go bananas if I put 100% in. My schedule between life, work, the channel, racing, I still go to band practice every week with buddy Doug. It's only a couple hours, but it's those little things. I got to go change my daughter's oil tonight. It's just finding time. Gym. I spend an hour at the gym every day just to keep my health up. If I could ask for anything, it would be more time. And I can't get any less sleep than I do. That's a no. It's just crazy. But yeah. I just feel weird about making my passion a job, even though it's kind of like a job. Here's a funny story. So I did those. I did the things for Superior pit boxes, and then the Dreamfield 2000 to win race. I did the promos or whatever you want to call them. And I'm friends with my boss's friend on Facebook, and I see Johnny is in there talking with him. I come walking, hey John, what's going on? Filling up my water. And he's just like, to my boss, he's just like, you see Ben? You know what Ben did online? My boss isn't on Facebook. I think he has Instagram, but he's not on Facebook. And he's just like, no, what? So Johnny finds it and then starts playing my promo for my boss. And my boss was, he didn't pick on me. He's just like, dude, that's pretty good. I'm like, it's the crap I do when I leave here. Like I do body work and prime and sand and this and that all day long. Then I go and work out, and then I come home and I have to, do dinner and all the stuff. And then I come out to the barn and I do crap like that. See, adding anything else in just kind of, it makes my mind melt trying to find time to do it. I would love to do. I have so many things that I would love to be into, and I don't have enough time to do them all. I joke with my buddy Dog. He's probably watching that. I asked him if he would like one of my hobbies, because I could, maybe if I gave it to him, I could live vicariously through him. He could do that hobby, and then I'd be like, that's awesome. Now I don't have to do it. That'd be great. Yep. Yeah, 23,000. Yeah, I appreciate it. It honestly keeps, it keeps fuel in the tank. The Google AdSense is what it's called. If anybody's curious about that, at least the parameters as I came into that were you have to have 1,000 subscribers and then 4,000 watch hours of time in order to become monetized. Now, much like this, your the ads that run and everything like that. Those obviously are what pay, but views and watch time all account. That's how, however I did that month is a culmination of those things. Um, and like when I had a viral video that's pushing 20 million views, those were really good months. Those were excellent. I was like, I can't seem to reproduce it though. I just haven't hit the algorithm again. But yeah. Yeah. Uh, no, I know it's not you giving money. Well, it is. If you pay for your internet service and then you're on YouTube, even though it's free to be on YouTube, your time watching ads is payment, which pays me to do this. So you are paying me, which is weird. It's just my wife does say, she's just like, how many subscribers do you have? And I'm like, I don't know, 23,300, something like that now. I try not. I don't dwell on the subscriber count. I don't. It's really cool, and that's why I post when I hit like a mark. Like the next one will be 24,000. That'll be really cool. I don't dwell on itself. I'm not. I'm not. Uh, I'm not an influencer. I don't. It's not that I don't care. It's that I don't make it who I am. Getting likes and comments and this and that. It's cool, but I don't base me on that, if that makes sense. But she does ask. She's just like, so when's this really gonna pay off? Where are you gonna see some serious money out of this? I'm like, it'd be cool. I'm probably lacking. That dude. I get emails from YouTube. Just like, oh, this is how well, creator this and that, and this is how you up your views and this and that. I'm sure I could delve even harder into it, but time. There's time, and I run a YouTube channel off my phone. I would have to get a MacBook Pro. I like Apple products. I mean, it's not. You could debate me on it. It's simple. It's easy to use. That's why I have it. But I'd get a MacBook Pro, and then I could get a camera, and then I could make the studio nicer. There are a lot of things that I know that I could do. I just don't do it because of time. it's goodness. Yep. Hey, you pay the ads away. They still hits this guy. That's cool. Heck yeah, dude. Good job. That's awesome. I do get occasionally I get messages, and I don't post them because I don't. It's personal to me. I could. I got a message from I believe it was a grandfather that he took his daughter racing. It was their first year, and they were expressing how much the channel has helped them, and that's all I want. That's gratitude enough. He's just maybe it's an email or message, and it just said that he sent me a picture of the trophies they won this year. That's enough. That's a really. I'm here to help. As good or bad as I may be at something, if I can help at all, if I can improve anybody's life at all, that's my intention here. The monetization, awesome. It does help racing, but I don't base my worth on money. I base my worth on how I can be with other people, if I can help them or not help them. But yeah, that's awesome. Getting second. Have I finished second? I have had a horrible racing year. Things just went sideways off the rip. I did have a couple third place finishes in the Open. That was good. Even though I nuked my engine doing it the second time, it was really fast at the beginning of the run though. So that gave me some love there. Setup question. I keep reading to run very low left front pressure to keep the cart tighter in the center of the turn. Is that a sign to raise the left front tire, the washer, or two? Lowering pressure. Lowering. I'm trying to think about what that would do. I don't play with stuff like that. It's personal choice. Somebody asked me about this. I don't prep tires differently either. I do all four of them the same. I run all the pressures, a split. But I have a tendency not to play with, 2 and 4, 5 and 6. I always do a 1 pound split, or even up, or if it needs a little more turn, I may increase that split. But I would assume that lowering the left front pressure would cause that tire to grip better. I wouldn't think it would slip better. Now, think of if you inflate a tire, it gets bigger, pushing further down on the ground. If you lower the pressure, it will shrink the tire, causing that to come off. So I would assume that lowering pressure would be taking the spindle up. It would be taking cross out of the cart. Does that sound right? I don't know. I've never played with that, but that's where my brain goes. I have a tendency not to recommend entry. Left front, I consider entry. But once you load the chassis, once you get onto your rights in the corner, you're a teeter totter, and you're on 3 tires essentially. That's why it's picking up the left front. Yeah, it's the most newer chassis are already set to where that left front is up. Oh no, would it be pushing down? I'm sorry. Oh geez, boy, you made my brain. You're gonna make my brain break. You like how I try and talk through all this? It make no sense whatsoever doing it. Yeah, I think the circumference of the tire, what I said there, is correct. But putting the tire down to the ground, your left front down to the ground, will take cross out of it. Yes, it will take cross out of it, but that would be like inflating the tire. Taking the tire up would be like deflating it. Is that an answer? Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, because if you blow a tire up, the circumference gets bigger. Now, with a left front, entry becomes a thing. If you, for instance, if you mess with your cambers, if you tilt that down on entry, it's going to cause that lever to happen quicker. So when you turn, that left front is going to hit faster. If you put your camber down, if you put more positive into it, same kind of concept. If you were to inflate that tire, it would touch the ground more. It would also be like dropping cross in that spindle, moving the spindle down. So I hope all that made sense. That's just how my brain works. I try and be analytical with it as best I can to think about when you do what with what. When you crack the wheel, what happens? This one travels up the hill. This one travels down the hill. So what did that is? As soon as you crack the wheel, what happens to, this creates the teeter totter. It puts your left front down, and then it sets onto the rights, and then you control that how fast that goes here by camber or staggers or what have you, or weight percentages. You control that lever how it moves. So this is you left front would trigger it, and then control that with those things. Does that sound about right? Yeah, the whole cart is a lever, and it's multiple levers. So it's you cross from left rear to right front. It moves that way. Also, the lever from side to side, your virtual center of gravity, how high up you are on the seat, how much it loads the right sides. Also get into sidewalls. The lower the pressure, the more the tires roll over. The higher the pressure, the less they roll over. It also messes with the levers and how quickly or not quickly they happen, how much bite they're actually adding to the tire with, you know, how much pressure you're running or not, how much rollover you have. It's for being go-karts, there are a lot of physics involved and a lot of concepts to play with. And the tiniest little things can make a difference. You know, I've had people, you know, tell me they changed like 0.2% or 0.2 psi in a tire, and that was the difference between it getting loose at the end of a run or not getting loose at the end of a run. And I'm like, wow, you know, it's quite. I always had a analog gauge up until this intercomp I have now, which I have to do a video on. Somebody asked me about the intercomp, and maybe I'll do a short or something like that. Just kind of thumb through it and just show what the digital intercomp is. I know they're expensive, but it definitely is something I started playing with, especially in the clone this year. You can be that particular in the open. I'm not saying you can't, but I think that, you know, fractions of PSI really not make or break, but can make a big difference in a clone, especially because you only have so much horsepower to utilize. But all right, guys, I just looked up. We hit an hour. I talked for an hour, big surprise. But I got to go change my daughter's oil. My wife's it's been like 3 weeks. She's been after me to do it. King of procrastination and finding other stuff I got to do. But yeah, I really appreciate you coming by. I intend on doing the Grand National video for Sunday. Maybe. If not, I'll be back in here. A bunch of ideas came about this past couple weeks for videos. If I can't get it done, you know, it'll just be another standard. We'll call it standard video because it's not a vlog style. It's not all that. But yeah, I think I intend to do the Grand National footage. I don't know what's there. I haven't looked at it. I just feel like I'm whining because I don't have time. But I gotta find time. I gotta find time to do this stuff and get it done. So I really appreciate you guys for this Sunday. Oh yeah, absolutely. All right. Thanks a lot for coming by.